Welcome to Industry Champions. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and joining me from the little area of Nocatee in Jacksonville, Florida is Giselle Carson with Marks Gray. Giselle, how are you?
I am great, and I am very happy to be talking to you today.
Yeah, me too. First of all, thanks for connecting on LinkedIn. When I saw on LinkedIn you and what you do and your passion for life and your passion for helping people, I was like, I got to ask her to come on Industry Champion. So, Giselle, before we get into the book, let's talk just a tad bit about you because I think that informs what you do now and why you do it. So, give us the elevator speech on Giselle.
Sure, absolutely. So I am a two-time immigrant, yeah, triple nationality. My roots are from Cuba. I restarted my life in Canada and became a physical therapist.
Oh wow,
And then I reinvented boldly my life in the United States. And I became a corporate immigration attorney, foreign talent strategist. That's what I do now. And before the show, we were talking about, sleep, and sleep is very important to me. I am a big believer on, managing life as best as we
yeah,
can. And so in my spare time, where my recharge is endurance events. I just finished from finishing my sixth Boston Marathon
wow.
on April 21st. So just a few weeks ago, I'm still in recovery. That was my 26th marathon, and I intend to do 50. But that's kind of my recharge. And the same discipline, determination, passion that it takes to finish a marathon and this
Yeah.
endurance events. I carry that onto my life. So I am just really blessed, honored that I can, combine my passions to thrive and help those that I help thrive also.
That's wonderful. So it's amazing. I mean, we don't have enough time to really deep dive in all your life, but the fact that and I'm gonna highly encourage folks to reach out to you and connect with you on LinkedIn. You've done a lot, but your passion for immigration and what you're doing. Can you talk about what you do, how you do it, and then talk about the book, please?
Sure. So when I well, actually, when I started as an immigration attorney, I decided to go into that area of practice after becoming a lawyer. One, because of my background, my personal background.
Yeah,
I stood outside of the US, yeah, USCIS immigration in line. That doesn't happen necessarily anymore. In my time, there was not a lot of those electronic things that we have. So you stood in line outside of USCIS waiting to get in. And if they reached the maximum amount of people that were allowed to go in, you were turned around. And you came back the next day at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I've lived immigration on a personal level. And then as I started practicing, I realized that there were not there were immigration attorneys in Northeast Florida, of course, but very, very few focus on
yeah,
partnering with employers and helping talent grow into the United States. And I mean, that's how I came here. So that was a professional. Now it was a combination of a personal passion and a professional passion. So I founded the practice at Marks Gray. I developed it. I've done it now for 20 years. I have an amazing team that works with me, and we have clients all over the United States. And we're so proud of the work that we do because we are helping infuse our country with global talent that, despite what we may hear or read, it is critical for the future of our country. Population is changing. We all know that. We're getting older. We don't have enough kids. Even those that are working are retiring, many of them, and will continue to retire in massive amounts. And unless we bring skilled talent into the United States, we're going to have a real problem. And so that's what my practice is all about. And I'm more than a corporate immigration attorney because most of what I do now is a strategy. So it's strategically planning where are the holes, how can we reach, and then even when the talent is higher, how do we retain them, and how do we help them thrive within the company based, navigating all the challenges for immigration. And that led to the book.
Yeah. And you encapsulate all that information into the book. And so, what's the takeaway for the reader?
Yeah, the takeaway from the reader is exactly that. I mean, the title is The Corporate Immigration Advantage:
Okay.
How to Hire, Retain, and Thrive with
Mm,
global talent in a competitive world. And when I started the book, I was doing it more from a legal perspective. This is what an H-1B visa is. And I thought, Chris, oh my God, I can't even read this. So how am I going to get other people to read this? Because it's
yeah.
so complex. So I stood back and I said, okay, how can I make this more engaging, practical, and a good read? So I started using stories, real stories, of course, not the real, but
Right.
the idea from 20 years of experience. Okay, a fact case scenario of an H-1B or an O, an L, so the
Yeah.
various types of visas. And then someone else said to me, Giselle, but your story is just as impressive in a sense, like, you've been through the process. So then I incorporated some chapters about my own personal immigration history, and also how do I stay energized and resilient. So there's a
Mm,
book chapter on mindset. So yeah, I people that have read it and bought it, it's available on Amazon. They say it's practical, insightful, and very timely. At a time where, again, you're hearing all kinds of things about the bad side of immigration, which there is some of that, but hey, let's give some light to the other side too.
Oh, I agree. And it's funny. I'm just listening to you, and number one, I applaud you on your own personal journey, and then I applaud you on writing the book. So in 2008, nine time frame, I helped one of my interpreters from Baghdad come here on a special immigration visa, and he met us up outside of Savannah at Fort Stewart, and
Mm.
the pain it took to make contact with immigration and work through the process. We literally bought a book, which was probably written for a lawyer. One, and then two, the inability, because electronically back then you couldn't do too many things, believe it or not, even in 2008 9 time frame. It was
Yeah,
very painful for somebody that was brought in on a special immigration visa to go through this
yeah,
process. And if you don't know how to negotiate through it, it can almost seem like a gigantic wall to get over. And so somebody like you writing this book from a corporate perspective, like why this is important to them, I'm going to highly encourage folks, because I think this is not just for human resources professionals. I think this is an everybody book
correct.
that they need to read to understand, because you're right with the conversation on immigration, which is not new, but it's become very polarizing now, that folks need to get educated and be informed to make wise decisions, especially with all those factors you brought up with our human dynamics here in the States where we have an aging population. So Giselle, how do
Absolutely,
folks find you and how they find the book? And then Mark's great.
absolutely, yes. So the book is available on Amazon right now, The
Okay.
Corporate Immigration Advantage. So they can go there and get it. And they can also link with me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
That's the easiest place to find me. And Marks Gray is a local to Jacksonville law firm. In fact, this year we celebrated our 150th anniversary.
Wow.
I think very few firms in the country can achieve that stature. So that also speaks about the resilience of the firm and those attorneys that practice there.
That's wonderful. Giselle, number one, thanks for your story and telling to us. Second of all, thanks for writing the book. I think this is a great keystone to open up the doors for people's minds, and then also to also help their businesses in many cases. So we're going to encourage folks to take a look at our show notes, take a look at your book. I highly encourage them to order it and read it, and then contribute to the online conversation, because um, some people on different sides of the aisle want mass
Right.
migration, and some people don't want any immigration. That either one is the
Yeah.
right answer. We need the right immigration
Yeah.
with the right people, because as you know, and I know, based on our own worldly experiences, that there's a lot of goodness, especially when you operate in a global economy or just really a global community. It's very important to be able to understand one another. And your book and then your story can help kind of build that bridge. So thanks again.
Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Love this conversation. I wish we had half an hour.
Well, I'm going to bring you back on a different show, and I'll stay in contact with you, Giselle. So thank you very much. Hey, folks, highly encourage you to connect with Giselle and me on LinkedIn. We love to continue the conversation. Reach out to Giselle anytime. Take a look at her book. I mean, imagine the power that you can bring in the talent into your organization, regardless if you're a small company to a large company, and then she's providing you the knowledge and information you need to be successful in that space. So we live in a global community, so we got to actually reflect that in all forms of our society. So I'll see you in our next segment. A little gratitude.